Okay, thank you very much. That's very nice work, Garvit. We'll take questions now. Looks like we have one from Brad in the Q&A. Brad, did you want to ask that one directly?
Sure. I've got two pairs of headphones I keep switching between. So the first question, I had both a simple question and maybe a slightly more interesting one. The first one was, you showed an Epoch Manager performance slide, and there was the red line and the blue line. I think the red was the no communication case, and the blue line was Eugenia, if I'm remembering right. And the red one had sort of a plateau where it went up for a while and looked bad, and then it went back down. I was curious whether the cause for that plateau was something that you understood, or if that's an open question.
I think that's actually quite an open question, because yeah, that was something that we weren't able to understand either, probably because there isn't actually any communication going on through the tabs or anything. It's just that it might be the initiation time of the UGNI layer, could be, but I'm not sure. It is an open question. I think we opened an issue on that as well.
Okay.
It was quite unexplainable, yeah.
Okay, thanks. The maybe slightly more interesting question I had, so throughout the talk, I thought I was gonna, well, the question I had was sort of, do we imagine the typical user of the atomic object, so the Epoch Manager, as being a typical chapel programmer or sort of a concurrent data structures expert, say? And in the end, with your future work slide, I thought maybe that you were answering it, that perhaps the way typical people would benefit from your work would be through higher level abstractions like hash tables or things that programmers are perhaps accustomed to using, and then you've taken care of all the details under the covers. But I just want to throw the question at you. Like, do you imagine sort of typical chapel users needing to use these things, or benefiting from them through other abstractions sitting on top of them?
I mean, our plan was that, yeah, normal people should use it, but I can understand that it could be quite complex to understand at once. Your point is correct, yeah.
Okay.
It looks like we have one more question in chat, and while Garvit takes this one, why don't you get set up and get with your screen share. Rahul asks, a recent paper, universal weight-free memory reclamation, that is a little less performant than epoch-based reclamation in terms of operations per second, but is significantly faster in terms of reclamations per second. So should we prioritize performance in terms of operations per second, or is there a sweet spot between the two?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question exactly. Could you repeat?
Yeah, and it's in the chat here as well. So a recent paper, universal weight-free memory reclamation, shows that that it is a little less performant than epoch-based reclamation in terms of operations per second, but it's significantly faster in terms of reclamations per second. So should we prioritize performance in terms of operations per second or reclamations per second, or is there a sweet spot in between the two?
Definitely operations per second, because operation is what the program would be utilizing. Reclamation is something, at least in epoch-based management system, that reclamation is handled in the background. It doesn't actually show up, or and for that matter, block any other operations. So we can safely assume that reclamation is happening in the background without affecting the progress of anything else. That's the point of locked freedom in the first place, right? So, and another thing is that reclamation is not that frequent. I mean, honestly, it comes down to the user, of course, and how frequent he wants it. But in a general scenario, reclamation isn't as frequent, while operations are something which the program is meant for, right? So in my opinion, I think operations are more, the things which we should be prioritizing as opposed to reclamation. I mean, sure, this was one question that I asked during my project as well, and we came to this conclusion that, yeah, operations are much more the thing that deserve the priority as opposed to reclamation.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Garvit.
Thank you.